Hey, this is Ricky Kierley Cichlids. This video, we're going to check out turning on the blue and whites. Woo, 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 woo. They're coming for you. When I'm talking about the blue and whites, I'm talking about the blue and white Frontosas. How do you turn them on? This video is going to show you how. In the past, you've seen some of my other videos where you see how I fed my Frontosas. You see the results if you've watched other videos. Now you're going to see the results of how I feed these Frontosas. The blue and white, just come on. Woo, woo, woo. So check out this video to see how the blue and whites turn on. In the past, you've seen many people talk about certain foods, certain pellet foods, to turn your fish into superheroes, which has to go along with the blue and whites. Now the blue and whites here are the Frontosas, and the food that they're suggesting you use normally is more expensive than you want to spend. If you have a lot of Frontosas, you have a lot of fish, you may not want to spend the $30 to $40 that some of these bags cost. For a bag of food, $30 to $40, you know, that's a lot of money. I don't know how long a bag would last you, but it wouldn't last me more than a month. Now, my suggestion here on the blue and whites, to get in the blue and whites going woo, then is to use raw peeled shrimp. They're deveined. You don't have to have them deveined, but these are deveined, raw peeled shrimp. You don't have to peel them. They're frozen. I can get a bag of them for a pound of frozen shrimp for around $5 or something. Now I can feed this particular aquarium, which has my Frontosa colony in here, multiple times in a month for $5. So if you're thinking about getting the blue and whites, woo woo woo, it may not cost you as much money as you thought. Now think about it. Do you want to spend $30 or $40 on a bag of food that may not have natural substances in it, that may have your animal protein, which is not good for your fish? Or would you like to feed your fish, you know, natural food like shrimp? And there's some other type of frozen foods you can feed them. Now, one I want to make sure that I want you to know to stay away from is bloodworms. Now, bloodworms, some people are good, you know, they have great success with them, but from my personal experience, because I've had several questions about this in the past, don't use bloodworms. They can have little hooks on them, on their bodies, that can get into the stomach and the intestines and cause problems. So don't use bloodworms. In the past, I've bred fish before, betas in particular, and I lost a lot of my betas because they start off really small, betas do, and it take a long time to get to be full size. And when they got to be pretty big size, I started losing them because I started feeding them the bloodworms. So don't feed your Frontosas bloodworms. If you do and you think it works great, that's fine. But for you who do not use frozen food yet, don't try bloodworms. Krill is good. Shrimp is great. Krill is good. It is actually really good, but you can spend more than you do at the grocery store for some frozen shrimp. So I'm just wanting to save you some money, and also your Frontosas you're gonna see how these Frontosas love this shrimp. They just tear into it, and the blues have been coming out. They've been exploding, and the growth patterns, you can actually see them growing faster, and it's kind of hard. It's not as bad as watching grass grow, but you can watch your Frontosas grow, especially when you start feeding them shrimp. So we're going to take a look at that and get those blues going. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, I'm going to start off this portion of the video with looking at the Frontosas before feeding the shrimp, so you can see differences in their behavior. There are some differences that you can pick out. I'm going to show you. So you can see the blues now. They're looking really good. Now I've been feeding these Frontosas frozen shrimp every 3 to 4 days for about a week now, maybe 2 weeks. They're really impressive on the blues, and they're looking a lot better, they're more healthy, they're more active. Now, I'm not suggesting you use frozen shrimp as your primary food, but I would suggest that it would be something that you might want to use occasionally, like every 3 or 4 days. It sure makes a difference, and I was concerned that there would be a problem with feeding them pellet food after feeding them shrimp, because when you feed them a good food like shrimp, you think, is it going to, or the Frontosas going to eat the pellet food afterwards? In this case, they actually ate it the same day. I fed them some pellet food the next day. There you see Danger looking awfully bright and colorful. So let's back up a little bit and watch the feeding again. Now I'm going to narrate it, but I'm going to put the shrimp in, and then I want you to watch the behaviors of the Frontosas. Since most of you have phones and tablets to watch in this video, I'm not going to zoom out too much, so you'll be just seeing the Frontosas in front of the camera. So let me get the shrimp. Well, it was a little bit above where I had the camera at, so I'll be putting some more in. But you did see him go for it. So let me zoom back a little bit so you can see the whole tank. Let's put some more in. See how they're really going for it? I mean, they just love it. They're tearing it up. Now I put a little bit at a time, and then when I noticed that not too many Frontosas are going for it because they have a big shrimp piece in their mouth, then I don't put any more in. That way there's not some left there. They'll eat it later, normally, but that's about as much as I'll put in for now. I want you to notice their behaviors. Now the behavior you're seeing here is that they're gobbling up the food, of course, but they're having to, like there's Kanger getting some shrimp there, they're having to chew on it, and they just kind of stay still for a while. So they kind of stay into an area and then chew on the food. And this is normal. They don't choke on it. Shrimp is really good. Now you may have seen in the past a fish might have, got another fish lodged in his throat. The shrimp is really soft, no tough materials. Like I say, this has been peeled, so it goes to the belly pretty quickly, and then they really start to enjoy what's going on. Now they breathe. It looks like they're breathing hard, but that's part of them kind of breaking up the Frontosas. I mean the shrimp. And even my Frontosas cats will eat some of the shrimp if it's left out. If I have a little bit left over, like over here to the right, you see there's a little bit there. They'll probably get that in just a little while as they get it more into their bellies. As you see, there's some shrimp, Frontosas eating what's left. But the Frontosas will also eat frozen shrimp. And make sure I clarify this. You're not going to be feeding this every day. This is something you might want to do every 3 or 4 days. You could feed it every 3 or 4 days, but in between you still want to be able to feed them your pellet food. And your pellet food doesn't have to be the $30 to $40 food that you have out there, or if you do, you don't have to feed them as often if you do continue to use the more expensive pellet food. Now I'm going to take a little break and give you the reactions of the colors after they digest a little bit. So I give it a couple of minutes here. They won't actually be digesting it, but they'll be getting it in their bellies. Now I want to zoom in before I go away to where there was the Frontosas eating on some of the shrimp. I don't know if you get to see it there, but it was actually eating on the shrimp. So this is not just something for your Frontosas. Some of your other fish will eat it just as well, and they love it. It's a big treat for them, and it actually will make them grow faster, get better coloration, and be primed for breeding. So let me take a moment and then come back after they've got some of this into their belly. Yeah, I decided to show you this behavior because it's really neat. This is called the hogging behavior. Now see here, so you see Whopper with a piece of shrimp in his mouth. And the reason why he's not completely eating that is because his belly right now is getting stuffed, and he can't put that and chew that up yet. But he doesn't want the other fish to eat it, the other Frontosas. So he's kind of hogging it. He's keeping it in his mouth and saying, "This is mine, stay back." Now he's already eaten some, so he's like, "Hey, this is mine, I'll eat it here in a few minutes." That's kind of some behavior you can see from your Frontosas. Now also, if you look around as far as the waste in the water, there's very little waste from the shrimp, if you're worried about that. And some of your pellet food, I don't know, there's pellet food around the world, nothing in particular that could leave debris. This doesn't leave too much debris. And it also helps their digestive systems. Helps them let out the waste a lot better. Kind of lets it go. Now see over here, if you see I don't know if you saw it, but Whopper had to let some of his shrimp go, and then he's gobbling it back up. He just kind of gorged himself, and it's not dangerous, but the fish, they don't want the other fish to have their food, so they might get too much in their mouth at one time, and so he had to let some go and get it in position right, and then chew it back up. So they're doing good. So I hope you like this video. Remember, you got to have the blue and white go woo woo woo. So make sure you check out shrimp at the grocery stores. It's not something you have to go to your fish store. You can, but this you can get from just a grocery store. And look how they just tear into it. They just love it. So I think if you haven't used shrimp yet, you'll enjoy feeding it to them. Enjoy the experience, and your fish will really love it. So thanks for watching, and look for other videos from Ricky Kenner Cichlids. And remember, get those blue and whites going. Woo woo woo!